liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
You're tapped in, so let's get right to it. So, red alert, breaking news, and all those other things that will bring your attention to what I have to say right now. Korean Americans in Los Angeles delivered a powerful message against Mayor Karen Bass. They're calling her leadership racist and declaring that they have had enough of her leadership as mayor. Multiple community members spoke out strongly. Quote, "The Korean community has had enough of Karen Bass. We cannot have a person with the hatred, racism as our mayor. Oh no, there's no place in our community for hatred and racism. She needs to resign. Get Bass out," end quote. And to me, this is just one of those instances or examples of the pot calling the kettle black. You know what I mean? Racist and hatred. The Korean community is complaining about racism and hatred. Oh, need to ask Black people about that. We have receipts. We have the receipts. And for a lot of us, we'll say it straight out. There's no more racist person or demographic in Los Angeles towards Blacks than Koreans. You know, facts, you know, and they display it openly. And you have the unmitigated gall to complain about racism and hatred from a mayor who's giving your community $1 million for 1,000 homeless people. Oh man, quit it. And you got the Republicans backing this call to remove Karen Bass. And again, just so it's clear, I'm not a supporter of either political party. You know, Karen Bass, she has her faults, you know, but you have to look at it in terms of this is a woman who's mayor of a city of, I think, 14 million people. So someone's going to be upset. Someone's not going to get their way. You know, someone's going to feel as though they've been neglected. You know, you have a mayor with an administration that has to oversee 14 million people. All right. So, yeah, everybody's not going to be happy. But when you want to ask somebody who's least happy, ask us. We've been dealing with this for a very, very long time. And it didn't have to necessarily be the first Black mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Black, for us to tell you, hey, man, this shit been going on for a while. All right. But now you have the Korean community, you know, feeling as though they've been experiencing racism and hatred from Mayor Bass's administration. That sounds odd to me. Anyway, I have a clip. I'm going to drop this clip. And again, you guys got to hear this stuff, man, because, you know, you can't make it up. You can't make this up. And especially coming from the Korean community about racism and hatred. You can't make this stuff up. All right. I have this clip. Before we do, or before I show it, please like, share, follow, comment, and subscribe to TAP, right? That is the Art of Political Discourse. We appreciate your participation and viewership, as we always say that here, because we mean it. All right. So thanks for being involved. And I would like you guys, after this video is done, after the content is complete, please put your thoughts in the comments. Let's have that discussion. Let's continue that discussion there. Now, without further ado, here's the clip. You can't make this stuff up, man. The Korean community are complaining about hatred and racism to a Black mayor. Get out of here. All right, this clip is courtesy of African Diaspora News Channel, okay? Let's get into it.
I was looking for things to talk about. I saw this video, okay? Now, it was, I guess, featuring or maybe put up by Spencer Pratt, who is running against Karen Bass to be the next mayor of Los Angeles. As you guys know, that is a very hotly contested race, and it is one of the most watched races throughout the country. As you know, Karen Bass, I believe she's the first Black woman to become the mayor of Los Angeles, and this is her first term. some people don't like what she's doing. Of course, she was in the middle of, all the ICE raids that took place last year, June to be exact, when Trump sent his ICE agents to Los Angeles and started gaffling people up.
Well, that should be part of her base, or voting bloc that should support her is the Mexican and Latino community. I mean, there should be no question about their support for her. But then again, we're talking about racism and hatred in Los Angeles. Okay. So
saw Karen Bass running through MacArthur Park. I believe that's what it was. Telling them to get out of here, get ICE out of LA and all these other things. So also there was the wildfires that took place under her watch. And
now the wildfires, I see Karen Bass being the scapegoat, as was the fire commander or chief of the fire department, the white lady that Karen Bass canned or fired. But a lot of people don't recognize or realize that Gavin Newsom had a lot to do with that. There was a water shortage also. And because Gavin Newsom had decided that he wanted to conserve water, there wasn't enough water in the reservoirs or aqueducts where they could, go and get this water and douse the flames using helicopters, them water fueling planes and helicopters. So that blame should be placed squarely upon the shoulders of the governor, Gavin Newsom. Mayor Bass, I think she's being scapegoated in that respect because, okay, she was in Ghana at the time of this fire. How was she supposed to know a fire was going to take over and ravage, certain communities, especially rich communities, So, this stuff is crazy.
There's a lot of speculation as to whether she knew. There's a lot of people who aren't able to build their houses yet, just empty lots. And Spencer Pratt is one of them. Now, he, I guess by trade or profession, is a reality star, but now he's running for mayor. And you know what? It looked like he might be the next mayor of Los Angeles. So nevertheless, Spencer Pratt is throughout the community. I saw that he was talking to Black folks not too long ago on Crenshaw. And then this particular video, you'll see him talking to Koreans. And
now, that's another thing that a lot of Blacks in impoverished communities have to say about mayors of Los Angeles. They'll always go to the wealthier sides or, areas in Los Angeles rather than come campaign, walk amongst the people in the impoverished areas. So Spencer Pratt, like like Mayor Bass, he'd rather campaign where, there's businesses established, a district or an area where it is known to have a certain culture and tradition to it where a little money may be flowing. Spencer Pratt didn't make his way into South Central, though. That's what he didn't do. Probably no more than what Karen Bass has done, So again, it's a matter of picking your poison, which one you're going to go with. I don't know. That's a toss-up right there.
This is what they said about Karen Bass. I was like, word? Here we go.
Person with the hatred, racism as our mayor. Oh, no, there's no place in our community for hatred and racism. No, Spencer.
She needs to resign. I was going to bring this up in the debate. I didn't get a chance.
Well, you need to really find out who this guy is because he could be a Republican. And that would be good. That's some good fodder, you know what I mean? It's good fodder, And not only that, you want to find where his businesses are. Does he own real estate? Does he own stores, hair salons, nail shops, massage parlors? You want to look into this,
No, you cannot say it's a miracle that Korean businesses burned down.
Get pass out.
All this.
No, I decided to go. First, I don't want to. Now I'm gonna go.
Oh, well.
She didn't know who was on the ballot.
There we go. It's on the top of the ballot. It makes it easy. You don't even have to look for my name. The top.
Okay. So that was some in the Korean community calling her a racist. Right now, the allegation is that she said that she was glad or that their businesses or homes deserve to burn down. Now, I didn't see anything like that. But what I did find was, I don't know if y'all heard anything about a secret call that was recorded long ago. Now, let me remove this banner. Just Koreans are Asians. And this is what we know that Karen Bass did for the Asian community not too long ago. Now, let me remove this banner.
Now, you see, this is what I'm talking about. You know, the Asian community is throwing her under the bus. There are allegations being made that she's racist and she has a hatred for the Asian community. And yet she did give $1 million grant to Little Tokyo Service Center. It is funded from Measure A, the countywide ballot measure Mayor Bass helped lead.
Just really quick so that y'all could see it. So basically, and this comes from the City of Los Angeles website. It says a $1 million grant to Little Tokyo Service Center is funded from Measure A, the countywide ballot measure Mayor Bass helped lead. Mayor Bass today joined fellow members of LASHA to announce a $1 million grant to Little Tokyo Service Center to support housing stability for vulnerable Asian Americans, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander households, right? So they got $1 million. Okay. Now, Brother Phil also talked about that as well. Now, I'm going to show you the video of her talking about it. Here you go.
I got one challenge for you. Try Whisper Flow one time, and I promise you'll understand why.
We're going to solve this problem without a comprehensive approach, and the comprehensive approach begins with preventing people from falling to be homeless in the first place. So that's why it's wonderful to be here today and to witness, after working with La Casa for the last couple of years, and we've reached the point where we're handing out checks.
So as you saw there, she says, we have reached the point to where we're handing out checks. I'm like, oh, it must be nice, right? You handing out checks to homeless Asian Los Angeles Ninos, and to prevent them from being homeless. Y'all heard her. We're to the point where we're handing out checks. Well, I looked and I was curious. Has Karen Bass ever handed out checks to Black Los Angelinos that are facing homeless or are homeless? And the answer was no, right? As Kamala, no, she did not hand out no checks to none of them. Now, Brother Phil also talked about it, but I'm going to show you here. This comes from Los Angeles, county. It says the 2024 Greater Los Angeles homeless count, right? Now, again, that is by LASHA. And as you can see, I highlighted there, it says.
So it says the data continues to show that historic exclusionary racist policies still result in a disproportionate amount of Black people experiencing homelessness. Latinos remain the largest ethnic group experiencing homelessness. Now, in this graph, you see that Asian or Asian American numbers, the grand total is 1,127 homeless Asian or Asian Americans. For Blacks, it's 22,041. For Latinos or Mexicans, it is 23,103. And again, we are almost neck and neck with the Latinos or the Mexican population in their, their numbers in terms of how many are here in Los Angeles are way greater than the Black population. And yet we're right there in terms of homelessness with the Mexican population. And again, Asian Americans only have 1,100 homeless in the city of Los Angeles, yet and still they got $1 million to house them. All right. That doesn't sound right, does it? Sounds like something's wrong there, right?
Angeles, Latinos outnumber Black folks, but if you saw 22,000 Black folks are homeless or facing homelessness, this is 2024 statistics, but Latinos are 23,000, so not even 1,000, people difference. So Black folks are still catching hell in Los Angeles more so than anybody, okay? But yet she gave the Asians $1 million and gave Black folks absolutely nothing. And the Asian community, the Koreans specifically, said that she is racist. And I'm like, I don't know about that, okay?
Make it make sense. And again, here's a population of people who, according to the whole Black population of Los Angeles would tell you are racist and full of hatred towards Black people.
Okay, racist toward y'all. I just don't see it because, again, she gave y'all a lot of money and y'all are doing well in Los Angeles. But I don't know what was necessarily behind that with Karen. I could speculate, and I'll get into that in just a second. But I want to point out to the Korean community what is racist, right? Because that's one of them. That chart that I showed you, that's racist. Knowing that Black folks in Los Angeles are the most homeless, but yet somehow Karen Bass finds it in her heart to give Asians money and Black folks nothing. To me, that is racist. Now, what is the definition of racism? Racism, or being racist, is that you have the ability, the power, or control to affect another group of people. Now, in that sense, we can say that Karen Bass is probably racist toward Black Americans, right? Because she just, well, I don't want to do anything for them, okay? But I'm going to help the Asians. So I would say that's the definition of racism. What else do I have?
And for the most part, when it comes to Black politicians, that's the first thing out their mouths, that they won't do anything specifically or just for Black people rather than do it for everybody. You know, and the problem with that is that Blacks are more impoverished, have more against them in terms of systemic racism that takes place, that occurs every day, not just in our communities, but in the country, are so far behind the 8 ball that it would be the right thing to support and make sure that Blacks are receiving that assistance, that aid that the city can very well provide to get them in a position where they can begin to get past all these obstacles and barriers that exist in our society. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but that's what it is. All right. And Karen Bass, Mayor Bass, is no different than any other mayor who sat in the seat as mayor of Los Angeles. There is neglect for the Black community, you know, no matter how you look at it, no matter who sits in the seat.
We've talked about this before, right here.
An obstacle to Black reparations in California, convincing Latinos and Asians. A California panel has recommended reparation payments of up to $1.2 million for some Black residents, but advocates face an uphill battle in gaining the support of the state's Latino and Asian residents. Wow. Wow.
Since they really don't know what racism looks like, okay? They participate in a lot of racism. What else is on my list?
Go get her.
How about
him.
this?
I'd basically written off AI coding tools. Most of the ones I tried felt more like a new roadblock than a modern shortcut. Yeah.
That was coming. Now, this Asian lady, sorry about that. There we go. Yeah, sorry about that. You may know the story. This Asian shopkeeper or store owner shot and killed a young Black girl over an orange juice, shot her in the head and killed her. This was back in 1993, 94, you know, and didn't go to jail. She didn't go to prison for it. Mhm. All right, make rooftop Koreans great again. Mm. Everybody riding until the roof starts speaking Korean. Mm. And I'm glad she mentioned that because that was my issue. Um, the fact that Karen Bass is being labeled a racist and hating or have hatred for the Korean community. And again, that just is so off kilter. That's just so made up, just a load of crap. Again, the black community have receipts in terms of the hatred and racism being experienced or being exposed to from the Korean community. And little needs to be said or nothing needs to be said in terms of if things get out of hand again. There'll be a different party for sure. But this is all bad. this is a lot of us think, just looking at or hearing about what's taking place with the Korean community and Karen Bass is about racism, but not from Karen Bass. It's not Karen Bass who is exhibiting racism and hatred for Koreans. It is the Koreans who have exhibited hatred and racism towards the Black community for a very long time now. For a very long time now. This last piece, and and this is another thing. And you have to ask, okay, how did the Korean Americans get a crime bill and Blacks still don't have one? Mm-hmm. And we just looking like I can't stand it. Mhm. Mhm. Right. It was white people. Mhm. Okay. Right. Okay. And on that note, because that's the truth, you don't need to expand or expound upon that. We don't. All right. But it's crazy that the Korean community would label or accuse Mayor Karen Bass of hatred and racism when it's so obvious she's done what she did for them. $1 million for 1,000 for 1,100 homeless Asians. They failed to look at what anybody else has received. They failed to realize that they were fortunate, but they were more fortunate being Asian to receive that money than being Black or even Hispanic. But they're going to call this woman a racist and that she has hatred for the Asian community, Korean community specifically. And again, Koreans should be the last people to want to address or call anyone, label anyone as racist or hateful. You know? So tell us what you think about this. We tend to think that this is just more of the same. Um, there's something going on in the community, not just the community, but the country as well as the world. Things are changing. There are a lot of changes going to take place. Some are good, some are bad. One thing that we notice in the Black community is that we're beginning to wake up and become more conscious of who we are and what our abilities are. And we think that that's going to change a lot. And a lot of people are recognizing the fact that this is occurring. And I think it's in fear that they are starting to make moves or go along with, this certain ideology or mindset that targets Blacks, to in some attempt to take power, extract or take more power from them, to give them, to keep them as powerless as possible in the hopes that without power, we won't continue to rise or ascend to our rightful place, not just in the Black community or in Los Angeles or the country, but throughout the world. Again, tell us what your thoughts are. Drop them in the comments, whether you agree or not. Keep it respectful. We don't have any problem with that. Until next time, take care of yourselves and one another.
You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution.